Okay, so here is the next update on the heater restoration. I put some tape over the valuable sticker. I've given it a good clean, a waft over just with some satin black, just to make it look tidy and presentable. I painted the blower chunk just with some matte black paint, just to kind of keep the rust away. I found that by taking the shim, or the round bit off the end of the blower motor, I can expose this bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pack some grease in around that so it's less squeaky. I think it needs to move, and the reason it needs to move is just in case there's any give or anything in the motor which is rigidly fixed at one end, and the bearing which is rigidly fixed at the other end. So this needs to have a certain amount of give in it. There was certainly the remnants of some grease and crap in there, which I've washed out now. So that's that bit. I've been doing a little bit of painting around odds and sods, nothing particularly special, just, oh yes, the foam. So I have been searching high and low for the foam to replace this. Now this foam that came off here was very much a low density open foam, as I would call it, the sort of stuff like a sponge, this sort of stuff. There we go, you can see that's just kind of an open foam. Now this fatter stuff, like a draft excluder, it's about 3mm thick, has survived reasonably well, but the stuff on the other side hadn't, and it had completely just disintegrated, as you saw in the previous video. So what I've done is I have gone for some scrim foam, which is the sort of stuff that you would pack in between the backboard and the vinyl covering on a door trim. It's just a padding foam, and it's got quite a tough side on one side of it, and it's got a spongy side on the other side, but it's not an open foam in the traditional sense. But it does come in quite thin sheets, so I've ordered a sheet of that at about 2mm thick, and I'm going to see if that is compliant or gives enough that when I glue it onto these boards, it will seal against the various surfaces inside the heater unit. So watch this space on that. I don't need a huge amount of it, but it'd be nice if I can do it so it doesn't need to come apart again. Also, I'm just trying to choose stuff that's not going to harbour bacteria, like the original stuff did, and also cause problems moving forwards. For the motor, I found the brushes. They're just a fairly standard 7x7mm by any length up to about 18mm long. There's nothing particularly nasty about those, so I've ordered a set of those. The resistor unit, it is indeed 2-speed. If you look carefully on this, you'll see there's 2 wires going to one terminal, one wire going to the other one. So the black and white wire will run at 1 speed, and the purple wire, either of them, will run at the 2nd speed. So it's like full speed and slower speed, which explains just the 2 settings as well that we've got on the blower. If we look at the back of the control unit, we've basically got 2 settings for the fan speed on each location. If I put that into the middle where the blower is off, in the off position, or the fresh air vent, then effectively what we've got here is just the 2 speeds for each of the floor vent, I guess, or the dash demist vent. I can't remember what the exact settings are on this thing. But yeah, the heater's coming on. Oh, the other thing I did out at the back of the house, the heater matrix is over there standing on a table, so I gave that a pressure test earlier on. I gave it a back flush. The matrix is fine. I've just given it a wash through, which is why it's out there drying in the sunshine, although it's not that warm today, so it's probably a bit pointless. I might blow it through with the air gun. That's a drill. The air gun's on top of it. Blow it through with that and get that put back in once this is together. So I don't need to take both sides off this. What I'll do is I'll take this end off, because the matrix slides in from this end, and then I'll put all the various flaps in once I have got the foam glued on them, and then it can all go back together again, and the heater unit can then fit back into the car. Overall, pretty pleased with it. Wasn't intended to be a complete restoration, but it hasn't really been. You can see it's quite a lot of patina on the paintwork. I didn't bother sanding any of the surface mess up, but just wanted to make it look reasonably tidy. It's going to be completely hidden behind the console inside the car, but if anyone were to get upside down and glimpse up behind the dashboard, they might think, oh, nice new heater unit there. How about that? Brief update on the heater box. First of all, rebuilt it all, new flaps. I used a felt, quite a chunky felt. It's about 4, maybe 5 mil thick, spongy felt, because I couldn't find the right sponge. I thought felt would do the job. Certainly the heater unit has gone together beautifully. So all the mechanisms again, I've kind of lined everything up. All the clicks and things work exactly as they should. Fresh air vent opens and closes beautifully, and the 6-position, I guess, blower function, that all works fine. So the last thing I had to do was to replace the slightly, well, almost worn out brushes. I only had a bit of life left in them, but for the sake of spurning those while I had it all apart, so I put new brushes in. These are the fellas that I put in. They're a fairly standard 7mm box section brush. You see those have worn out, and all I did was just solder them onto the main circuit board, which I've done. Reinstalled the springs, made sure that the whole thing is going to be insulated from the outside unit. These things are probably the nearest that it's going to get. So now I'm going to reassemble the top casing, make sure the fan still works, and then we will attach the blower assembly, which is around somewhere. There it is down there. Attach the blower assembly and see if we can make it quieter, and then I'll be happy. So motor's all connected up again, bolted back together. I've attached earth lead onto one area, and I've got my 12-volt DC supply, which conveniently plugs into the mains. So let's, moment of truth. Let me do this so you can see it. Do it like that, maybe. Yeah, you'll see it. Right, okay, ready? Seems pretty good, doesn't it? Just check the rotation's correct. Oh, I'll tell you what, because I've got the positive lead plugged in. Let's turn it around. So we're going in the right direction now. So it's going to be rotating top towards you. Seems quite happy, doesn't it? Not the quietest motor in the world. What I'll do now is I'm going to put it back into the heater unit, and then once it's back in the heater unit, we'll run it through the whole thing and see if I can get basically it to work. Right, okay. Okay, so the heater unit is completely together, and I've only got 3 bits left over, which in all 3 cases, these funny little what I call them top hat washers, but they're lock washers that go on the end of the flaps, and all 3 of these were broken, so in the bin, which is good news. So I've taken the whole thing apart, put it back together again, cleaned it, put new felt on the flaps, and now what I'm going to do now is I'm going to connect it up. So these 2 wires here are the loom connectors, so that's earth, and that's the positive. So if I connect them up in their appropriate order, so that the controls on the front of this heater unit do a number. Let me bring you down here. Right, okay. So controls on the front of the heater unit. Normally you have like a panel over the front here. This is obviously temperature, hot, cold, whatever. This one here is for the it's easier if you do that. No, there you go. So this is for fresh air coming out of here, and I can go closed or open, closed or open, closed or open. This one here is for screen or car. So up is screen, down is car, and all that does is moves the flap down at the bottom here. You can see that flap shifting up and down. So that's that one. The one at the bottom here is a 6-position. Well, on the left-hand side, it copes with the fresh air that comes in from outside the car. You have a blower function on this, so the idea is that if you want air to come in from outside the car, on this side, when you're going slowly, but as you go quicker, you can turn the fan off into that position there. So that's no fan, but air coming in from the front. Half fan, full fan. Okay. On this side, the vent is closed. That vent there is closed. Okay. If I move it back to the open position, there you see it's opening up. So I'll go back to the front here. So now we're on recirculating air. So if someone outside, or you're driving past a smelly farm or something, you might want to go to this function here, which blocks off air coming in from outside. And again, this will have no fan function. Next click, half fan and full fan. Half fan, full fan, half fan, full fan, no fan. And then back onto fresh air. Right, okay, so with that covered, I did have to get hold of that. I couldn't remember. I knew it was something like that though. Anyway, let's find my power cable. There he is. I've still got me. Not taking a Michael Jackson tribute here. Right, so earth and right. Okay, we've got no fan function at all at the moment. So let's go to half fan. Ooh. It's working because I've got the fresh air vent open. It's blowing out here. If I close the fresh air vent off, then it comes out down here. If I had it on screen, so it comes out of these holes here on screen, if I do fresh air, it comes out the bottom down here. Oops. So if I go to full fan, and we'll go across now to the recirculating air there, which is that one, and half fan. Does exactly the same, and full fan. Right, so that's a success. Humming away quite nicely. How about that? Right, that's me done for the night now.